Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to North Carolina.
Oh, thank you. I have to play with this. Order. Okay, that's fun. Okay, if you're awake, give me 1 clap. 2 claps. All right, you're with me. Okay. So, 5 polite suggestions. If I say anything that offends anybody, I was just kidding. Okay. Maybe not. Okay. Towards becoming a serious voting bloc. Okay. Another click. Now, for my talk today, I am going with the assumption that I am not just talking to the Libertarian Party, I'm talking to the Libertarian movement. It is my firm belief that liberty is everywhere. It is in every party, and there are many fronts to the war. Give me a click. And there are liberty-type people fighting for liberty in a nonviolent way, in all parties, unaffiliated, everywhere. So, that's where I'm coming from when I refer to the Libertarian movement. I include you, but it is broader than just the Libertarian Party. That's what I believe. Okay. Oh, yes. And so, even though he is a Republican, no, not yet. I believe it is indisputable. I need a remote, but our remote doesn't work. So we're going to hang out here. I believe it is indisputable. It is a fact that the Ron Paul presidential campaigns were the rising tide that floated all liberty boats. And that we need to build on the momentum that was created by those campaigns and not let it peter out. So that's where a lot of my suggestions are coming from. I'm also studying the evangelical movement for another project I'm working on currently with Ben Swan, writing a book. Yay, which is exciting. And some of you might be pleased to know that a good part of the book is going to be calling out evangelicals on stuff they need to be called out on. But in doing some research, I've also found some places where they're doing things very impressively, and we might be able to learn something. So some of my lessons today are coming from them, not just as a voting bloc, although they are a voting bloc, but also as a successful organization. I think we can learn something from them. So, oh, yeah, evangelicals. Yeah. They're big and flashy. Okay, next. So, why are we here? Why are we here? I like to think that everyone in this room would like to eventually become a serious voting bloc that people take seriously, politicians in particular, and that maybe we are going to be the type of people that they pander to in a good way, the type of pandering where they want to sing our song and they want to, maybe think about not voting a certain way because alienating the liberty folks would be too politically risky. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? That'd be nice. People talk about evangelicals that way. Eventually, we need for them to talk about libertarians that way. Also, wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to run the only candidates that would vote our way? Maybe we'd have the kind of pull where other people across party lines would vote our way because of our influence. So I think that that's what we're going for. Let's see. What next? So, next slide. How close are we? We might be closer than you think. Not yet. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So, I have a statistic here.
I got you a string. You just tie it to his neck and give it a little jerk.
I know. I think my signals are not clear. My signals are not clear. When I go like this, not now. Yeah. So, in the last presidential election, just take a guess how much of the total electorate identified as evangelicals. What do you think?
30%.
11.
Somewhere in the middle, actually. 26%. All right, I'm getting a little warm here. Woo-hoo! Okay. So give me another one. Now, this is not apples to apples. Admittedly, this is a different statistic from a different place, but this is from a survey. How many people identify as libertarian or have sympathy towards libertarian ideals?
30%.
22.
26.
On the nose. On the nose.
Your research.
See, I don't think that's a very big spread. I don't think that difference, and you can give us a source. Yeah. That 22% is from the Public Religion Research Institute, 2013. So, and then to break that down a little bit, 7% consider themselves consistent libertarians, with an additional 15% just being sympathetic to libertarian values. Now, the bad news is, within the Libertarian Party, we only have 8% of that 22%. So we have a lot of liberty, even people that call themselves libertarians outside of the party. So I think it's essential that we reach across the aisle and work with other people. And also you have to remember that it was a Republican that gave you that number. So they're not all bad. Liberty is everywhere, okay? We have to work with the people who are working with us. We have to. And I have better news coming up, even better news. But the point is, maybe someday they'll start worrying about alienating us if we play our cards right. So, click. Oh, sorry. I think Rand Paul is a good case study. I don't have any special information about his campaign or what he's thinking. I just know from observing, I've been around the family, I've been around enough to have a guess, an inkling of what might be going on here. Every other day, it seems like someone in the liberty movement is pissed off at Rand for some dreadful thing that he said, or he's not being a true libertarian, or he's too friendly with Mitch McConnell, or he flirts with neoconservatives just a bit too much. There's a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth about Rand. I know this. He is not the second coming of Ron Paul. He had a front row seat on all of his father's trials and tribulations for his whole career. I think that he's sort of looking at what his father went through, and now he's got a chance to try it his way, right? So I think that when Rand courts the establishment, he's being smart. Why? Because that's where the money is. Sorry. And that leads me to the next slide, money. Number one is money. And I think maybe someday we can be where the money is. Give me another click. It wouldn't hurt for some of the biggest cheerleaders of free market capitalism to get a little bit better at it. Libertarians are always broke.
Tell me about it. $7 one good.
I mean, I know this is easier said than done, but we got to worry about our financial health. And as a politician, you can't really get anywhere if your friends are always broke. And if they are, you jolly well better get new friends.
More.
More. Yes, more friends. So it's just smart to draw on the mainstream right now, as things stand, because they're already used to whipping out their checkbook. We need to participate more in the economy, and be better capitalists. I know, it's easier said than done. But the evangelicals, I kind of learned something about them. They've gotten to where they really care about the financial well-being of their members. I've been visiting all these mega churches, the ones with thousands of members, and it seems like most of them have like a Dave Ramsey seminar coming up where they're going to help their members get out of debt. And then there's Joel Osteen that wants you to live a life of abundance for Jesus, and share some of that abundance with him, But they maybe have a good thing going on where they're nurturing the financial health of their members, for obvious reasons, because that brings me to the next point. Give. Because if you're concerned about your financial health and your friends are concerned about your financial health, then you can give more. And it's very important that we think about giving, because the hard truth is, if we want politicians to sing our song, we need to be the ones paying the piper. And it's not supposed to be like that. It's just the way it is. And I don't mean give to evil politicians. I mean give to our guys. Make the other guys salivate a little with the money that we are able to give. If we can't or won't or don't support our candidates, honestly, it just means that our candidates have to go somewhere else for money. Ouch. That sucks. So we need to consider putting liberty causes and candidates into our household budgets. Good little evangelicals give 10%. Better evangelicals give 10% before taxes. Yeah. Yes. So, give me another slide. Freedom isn't free. How much does it cost? How much does freedom cost? $1.05. Did nobody see Team America? World Police? Okay, that's just a joke. Okay. Freedom isn't free. Got your picture? Okay. That's ugly stuff. Money is ugly. But here's something maybe that we can do without fight the infighting. I think this is key. Evangelicals have actually gotten a little bit better at this than they used to be. They've figured out how to dampen that a little. There's an excellent article written recently by Bonnie Christian that suggested that libertarians model the evangelicals in their concentric circles of theology. At the very center, you have dogma. That's the core of what it means to be an evangelical or a libertarian. We're going to, transition this and apply it to libertarianism. And then outside of that, you have doctrine, things that are really important, but, you can happily live side by side with someone who differs on a finer point of doctrine. And then on the outside, you have matters of opinion, things that are interesting to talk about, but when it really comes down to it, neither here nor there. So, I have noticed, maybe some of you have too, that libertarians have an awful habit of taking matters of opinion and disagreeing with each other and calling each other heretics over it. It's not worth it. So, awesome news. I have awesome news. Let's look at this. In essentials, unity. In non-essentials, liberty. In all things, charity. I like that. Okay, next. Okay, so it's another discussion. What is dogma, what is doctrine, and what is a matter of opinion? Beyond the scope of my 15 minutes here. But I will say, if you consider our dogma to be that you should be able to do as you wish, as long as you don't hurt anyone, and government should stay out of our day-to-day lives, what percentage of Americans do you think are with us on that?
About 100%.
Should be 100%.
40.
So everyone who's not on welfare.
58%.
There it is, 57%.
And as my husband said, that means we have 42% psychopathic sociopaths in the country. But consider that. That's awesome news. That's a hell of a big tent right there. So if we stick to our dogma, that's the size of our voting block. But consider how maybe we shoot ourselves in the foot. I'm just going to throw some statistics out here. Homeschoolers are less than 5% of the country. 5% of the country believes in chemtrails. The aggregate rate of vaccine exemptions is 1.2%. Shane will be happy to know that. Many people will be happy to know that. That's not very much. You know, these are minor points that can be very contentious. And they're important. And they are important. I'm just suggesting that maybe these issues, these smaller issues, are for a different organization. You know, maybe we don't need to die on these hills where we lose people. And maybe we need to stick with our 58% and talk about what matters to them. Just a polite suggestion. Also, be very wary, this is my opinion, of people who come in and try to change the subject. The main thing is to keep the main thing. I think certainly all people should be welcome in the liberty movement, but we need to stay on topic because the infighting is very alienating. We lose a lot of people that we should have with us. So I think as a movement, we need to insist that we stay on topic, especially when things start to get contentious. We bicker over opinion matters at our own peril. Okay, next thing, vote. Seems obvious. If you want to be a voting bloc, you got to vote. Because why are we here? If we're not looking to gain some influence as a voting bloc, you know, we're here to vote. That's what grown-up voting blocs do. Now, I know that I have sympathy for the people who complain that it just legitimizes the system. Yeah, I get that. My husband thinks that. But really, if we want to be a voting bloc, that's what we got to do. Does not make a strong voting bloc to think that way. So, I mean, if you don't want to vote, that's fine. But don't criticize the people who are playing the game to win. We all know it's a game. We got to play to win. Show up. This is a good one. The truth is that voting and giving is not enough. We got to show up. Politics belongs to those who show up. I think that's, yeah, there we go. Wise person once told me that. We have to do stuff like volunteering at the precincts. We got to man the voting booths. And that would actually be a really good one if you're always in hysterics about voter fraud. You know, we got to get involved. We got to show up at LP meetings. Choir, I'm preaching. To you. We got to learn Robert's Rules of Order. And, you know, most people in this room are very good at showing up. Here you are. That's great. I think I need another slide. Yeah, show up for your candidate. If you're not running for office, then show up for somebody who is. I mean, our candidates are very lonely. They need a lot of help to do this right and to do us proud. So, let's see. I got a list of things. Lick envelopes, you know, stuff like that. Walk neighborhoods. That's really how Ron Paul won. He walked and 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 he knocked on doors. You know, that's how he won his first special election. Put up signs, yeah. And yeah, just be part of the boots on the ground. So, those are my 5 things. Please know that I am preaching to myself on a lot of these things. You know, I'm not holding myself up as perfect, but we have to build on the momentum of the past and push through and make progress. We can't drop the ball. And I think I'm done. Thank you for your time. How's my
I have
time?
maybe like 3-4 minutes, about 2 questions.
Any Q&A?
Or comments?
Comments, questions?
Oh,
With regard to, I forget how you put it, divisions within the organization, what about using a litmus test for giving support to particular candidates?
litmus test. That's a really great question. That's a hard one. I think we need to think about those concentric circles of theology and figure out what our litmus test is going to be. You know, it should be about dogma and maybe just a few areas of doctrine. but you know, it should be very broad. It should advance liberty and not alienate people who should be with us. That's a hard question, and I don't know what the specific litmus test should be. But I mean, we have to have some standards at the same time. That's true. Anyone else? Mr. Haw?
If nobody else had a question or comment, I did want to take the time to thank you in front of everybody. For Rachel has been making my videos for me. Basically what I do is I write the scripts and I show up and I read the lines. She does everything else. And she's made me look prettier than I've looked in a long time. And you know, it's like getting the studio up and running. So are you taking more clients now, or are you close to it?
Yeah, I gotta get my book done.
I understand.
But yeah, I would love to be open for business, whatever that means.
Just the main sales point I want to make is that Rachel is one of the best listeners I've ever met in my entire life. Like, we'll just be talking, and then later she'll say, "Oh, you know, you said this, this, and this. Let's film that. Let's go with that." You know, to pick out the things that really are you, and get that up on the video screen. So whenever you're ready to take more clients, call me, and I'll tell you why you need to go to Rachel.
Aw, thank you, Sean. All right.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.